Hello, and welcome to UMass Dartmouth Magazine. My name is Randy Helm, and I'm the Chancellor at UMass Dartmouth, a 9,000 student research university that serves as a very powerful catalyst for economic, cultural, and social growth in the South Coast region. I want to thank Dartmouth Community Television for making UMass Dartmouth Magazine possible. Our goal is to share some of the interesting activities and people and ideas that distinguish UMass Dartmouth and make the university such a valuable asset to the community, to the Commonwealth, to the nation, and to the world. I'll just give you a little heads up about some of the things that just in the last week have been going on our campus. We've had a Senegalese chef, a world-renowned chef from Senegal, showing us his cuisine. We've had Tibetan monks who were performing instruments and music and creating art. And now we're having this taping of the UMass Dartmouth Magazine. So it's a really interesting place. And those of you who live near here, I encourage you to come out to the university and check things out. Today, I'm going to be talking with political science professor Shannon Jenkins. She's a resident of Dartmouth who, in addition to being an absolutely terrific teacher and researcher, is also working to expand online education opportunities at our university. And we'll also be taking a few minutes later in the show to relive the unveiling of a sculpture that celebrates the 350th anniversary of the town of Dartmouth and the 50th anniversary of the UMass Dartmouth campus. But first, let's begin with a look back at the ribbon cutting for our new Charlton School of Business Learning Pavilion, a 3-story, 22,000 square foot teaching and learning facility that our students and faculty are really raving about. Take a look.
We came for one of the best business educations you can not only get in the state of Massachusetts, but in the country. The Charlton College of Business has catapulted on the scene in the last decade, in large part because of the vision of Stacy, Chuck, and the Charlton Family Trust. They, like Kevin Costner's character in Field of Dreams, believe that if we build it, they will come.
So delighted and honored to be here and to see this fabulous facility. It is a challenge to take a building and have an addition to it and have it all match. And I remember talking to Gene about this years ago, how you take a building, you utilize the glass, and you make it all mesh together. And I have to say, this is beautiful. It's really well done. It's first class, and that's just what this university deserves, a first class job.
You see why a quarter of a century ago, the UMass Dartmouth campus joined the University of Massachusetts and has been nurtured into what is now a U.S. News and World Report National Tier 1 Research University. We all should be very proud that UMass is one of the few universities in the nation that can claim that all of its campuses are National Tier 1. And the Charlton College of Business is no small contributor to making that happen.
Students truly are the reason we are here today, and you and all of your fellow students continue to inspire me and all of us.
So the Pavilion building is a really beautiful place. I'm so excited that it is up right now. I believe that it gives room for every graduate student, every CCB student to have room to learn more. I believe that it brings new experiences for students, new space for students to study properly. It's a beautiful place, really, compared to, the way it was before
I got to see what CCB looked like from the start, before the new building ever started. So I feel like I've gotten to see the evolution of CCB, and it's great to see improvement as I've been here throughout my time here. So I'm actually really excited. My only real disappointment is that I'll only get to use the building for one semester.
I came here in 2015 and it's so amazing to see that the university is expanding. I love this new building for many reasons. It provides the opportunity for students to get involved with Charlton College of Business even way more than before. I hope that this new building provides the chance for more networking and more opportunities in future for all the students.
The Charlton Learning Pavilion was made possible by the Charlton Trust. The Charlton family has been really very generous to our university and to a lot of other good causes throughout the region. And their many gifts to the business school will transform thousands of lives over the years. Now, I'm very pleased to be joined by Dr. Shannon Jenkins. When Professor Jenkins is wearing her political science professor hat, what does that hat look like?
It is not a crown.
It's not a crown. No. It may have campaign buttons stuck all over it. But when she's wearing that hat, she specializes in teaching state and local politics. But we're going to be discussing a different topic with her today, because she's also the academic director of online learning at UMass Dartmouth. And online learning is one of the fastest growing phenomena in higher education generally, but also at UMass Dartmouth. So we're going to get a glimpse into how teaching and learning at the college level is changing with technology in the 21st century. So thanks, Shannon, for being here.
Thank you for having me.
So I've got some questions that I'll ask, and then you just take it away. Okay. First of all, what is your job description? What are you responsible for doing? You're the academic director of online learning, but what does that actually mean?
So it entails a lot of different things, but a large part of it is really helping identify and grow our new programs online, but also ensure that our existing programs are of a high quality. And I think really that's one of the things we're known for in our online environment. There's a lot of other institutions who are just throwing things up and doing whatever. But we have really good processes at UMass Dartmouth to ensure that our classes are consistent, they're of good quality, they're taught by qualified faculty, the majority of whom are full-time. So I'm helping with scheduling, developing new programs, developing new courses. We have a fabulous instructional development team that helps faculty integrate technology into their courses. So I'm working with them to help identify faculty training needs and to provide that training to them. And so it's really a lot of different ways focused on growing our academic programs, but while maintaining that real quality that we're known for. And that's the hallmark of our programs.
I'd like to ask a couple of questions, one from the point of view of a faculty member, the other from a potential student. So
Sure.
Let's say I'm a faculty member. I've heard about online learning. I know nothing about how to do it, but I think I'd like to give it a try. So how do I start? What do you do for me? And are there some classes you say, this is not a good fit for online learning?
Well, it's funny. A lot of people will say that. And in fact, when I started out teaching online, I've heard a lot about this online learning stuff, but I'm not so sure. But, being a sort of a naturally inquisitive person, I thought, well, I'm going to see. I'm going to try it out and see if I'm right, that I'm not so sure about this. And what I found is that online teaching really makes you think very carefully about your teaching. Well, why am I doing this? And what am I trying to accomplish with my students? And then you think about, well, how can that translate out of a classroom into an online learning environment? So it's really a back and forth practice. My online teaching influences my face-to-face teaching and vice versa. And part of the reason why that happens is because we have an online training class that faculty take in order to be certified to teach online. And in the class, you're a learner. You're an online student, essentially, in a class. And so you experience the online environment for the first time as a learner, which is really helpful if you're thinking about what are the challenges my students are going to face? Oh, that's the challenge that I'm facing right now. And so you learn to use the tools as a learner, and you see those challenges, but then our instructional development team will help you figure out how to master those tools and how to use those tools to accomplish what it is that you want in the classroom. And so I think that online training is really important. We don't let just, oh, you want to teach? Go ahead, here you go, good luck.
So you don't just sit down, if you're the professor, you don't just plunk them down in front of a camera, let the tape roll, and they give their same old lecture that they always give. That's not the way online teaching works. And then the student sort of sits there and dozes in front of their computer screen.
And no, it doesn't. And it varies from faculty to faculty how much video lecturing they do and don't. But incorporate into their class. Some do a lot, some do less. Some rely on, it's a mix-up of all sorts of outside sources that they bring together and weave it together to tell a story. So it's just a variety of different sort of learning experiences, videos, online activities, readings, discussion boards, group projects even, right? All those sorts of things, if you think really carefully about it, can be done in the online environment. And that's what we're encouraging our faculty to do. And I think we do that pretty well. Yeah.
Well, so the faculty want to do it. They think it's cool. They think it's interesting. This will sort of revitalize how I think about my teaching. But none of that matters if students don't want to sign up for online courses. And fortunately, there's been a real dramatic growth in the number of enrollments in these courses. So what's the appeal for the student? What's so great about an online course that is different from showing up at a certain time and place and being there with the professor and having that direct interaction?
So I think there are several advantages. One, we have a lot of the students who are taking our courses are people who might have not done so well their first go around. Like they tried in college and they were 18 and it didn't quite work out for them. And so they took time off, but they're working now and they have a full-time job and they have children or they have a parent at home that they're caring for. And so they can't commit to a set schedule, to showing up every single day at the same time or even every other day. And so the online environment allows for that flexibility for those students. And honestly, I'm dealing with this week, I have a student in Italy who had to evacuate her apartment because there was an earthquake. And so these are the sort of different challenges that we deal with in the online environment, but we can reach students in Italy. I've had students in Afghanistan and Kenya and all over the world taking our courses. So it's that flexibility that's critical, but also I think for some learners, the online environment works a little better for them. They may be hesitant to raise their hand, to speak in a class discussion. But the quality of online discussions is really quite impressive, in part because people have to think before they participate. And so they have time to look through their sources and compose themselves and respond to things. And so sometimes for students, it's just a matter of they feel more comfortable in that learning environment. It's not, generally speaking, because they're easier or they're a piece of cake. If a well-designed course is exactly the same amount of work from the student's perspective and sometimes more than a face-to-face course. But it's really that flexibility and that adaptation to their learning styles that's excellent.
I taught a blended learning course where I used some online techniques, but it was also, we met once a week in person. And I found that what you were saying is absolutely true. There are some students who have brilliant things to say, but they will never speak up in class because it's hard for them. But you give them an opportunity to write a blog every week and share it with their classmates. It really enriches the dialogue between learners in the class.
I agree, and I also think it does a really nice job of, as a political scientist, one of the things that I always reinforce is using evidence to sort of back your arguments and having the time to think about, well, this is what I want to say, how do I know that to be true? Can be really helpful in facilitating really intelligent discussions, and so they're really enjoyable to participate in.
So, what's the breadth of UMass Dartmouth? How many programs do we have online? Is it just one or two things? And if you're not interested in those one or two things, there's nothing for you, or
We
is
have
it?
all sorts of programs online, and we're growing those programs every year. We have political science, women and gender
Didn't
studies.
political science just win a prize?
We
as, like,
did.
the
We were
best
just
in the
recognized
country?
as one of the best in the country, in part because of the quality of our interaction with our students. We have a lot of business, sort of a general business degree, but the mix of electives allows you to specialize in different things that you might be interested in. We have nursing programs for people who already have a degree but maybe looking to change their career, or who have an associate's degree in nursing and who want to finish that BA or BS to help them move up in their job. Economics is moving a program online now. We have psychology at the graduate level, business, public policy, nursing at the graduate level.
Wow.
So we're computer science. We're really expanding our offer, and I'm thinking through them as we talk. And our liberal arts program has concentrations in history and sociology and English literature. So there's just a wide variety
Wow,
of
that's-
offerings
yeah.
available to students that will meet a lot of
Yeah.
different interests.
I should have asked, what do we don't?
Yeah, that's right, that's
what
right.
don't we offer?
Right.
So let's say somebody's watching us right now and says, I would like to see, what's available. I might like to try this. What do they do? How do they go about that?
Well, first they direct them to our website, right? Off of the umassd.edu website, it's /extension. And you can get a full list of all the programs we offer, the certificates, what courses we have online. We oftentimes have some students start as non-degree undergraduates. Maybe they want to try a class or two before they commit to re-upping for the entire degree, and students can do that. We also have students who maybe are from other institutions who may take a class or two, but the place to start is definitely on our website, which also has contact information for our admissions counselors and financial aid information and all of that. And they do a great job in helping students out.
And I wouldn't be a bit surprised if through the miracle of digital technology, we have the website up
That
on the
would be-
screen,
that would be
either
great,
right this
yes.
second or very shortly
That would be
thereafter.
excellent, yes.
Shannon, thanks so much.
Thank you for having
This is a
me.
really wonderful initiative at UMass Dartmouth.
Thank
Thanks.
you.
Now, as promised, let's take a look back at last month's unveiling of a sculpture celebrating the 350th birthday of the town of Dartmouth. That's a lot of candles. And the 50th anniversary of the UMass Dartmouth campus. The sculpture, located near the old Westport Road entrance to the university, is a tangible and thought-provoking, maybe even controversial reminder of how intertwined the history and future of the town and the university are. So watch this.
Get set, cut!
Hi, I'm Stacy Latt Savage. I'm a professor of fine arts at University of Massachusetts Dartmouth, and I primarily teach sculpture and also drawing. Laura Stone approached me about 2.5 years ago wanting to create a commemorative sculpture honoring the 350th anniversary of the town of Dartmouth, which also happened to coincide with the 50th anniversary of the UMass Dartmouth main campus where we are now. And at that time I was very busy, and we had just finished a project for the Dartmouth Community Park behind the Southworth Library in South Dartmouth, Mass. But as time went on and I really got engaged in the project, I decided that it was something that I could really be proud of. It's the strangest sculpture I've ever worked on because it started with a material. There have been several landmarks in the town of Dartmouth that were taken down in the last 15 years. That would be the Radome, the MIT Radome that was out in Paden Harbor, and then Lincoln Park, the roller coaster and family park, right down here on Route 6 in North Dartmouth. two Dartmouth community members that were passionate about both of these locations saved the steel from both of those monuments. I call them monuments, but we'll call them landmarks. So I ended up acquiring a giant mountain of scrap steel. But, you know, it is a difficult project, and I decided rather than working against it, I would work with the material, and decided to make that even a bigger conceptual framework for the project. And I worked with a friend of mine who we went through all the farms in Dartmouth, the significant farms and people that we knew. And we approached the railroad company and significant members in the town of Dartmouth to ask them if they had any scrap steel, or if they had any architectural elements or agricultural fragments or anything that they had in steel that represented the history of the town. When you look at a map of Dartmouth, UMass Dartmouth is almost in the very center of the community. And, you know, the first thing I did when I was trying to find order to organize all of this random steel and all these fragments was I asked the town to supply me with maps of the community. And I asked for road maps, I asked for maps designating rivers, I asked for maps talking about the different villages that make up Dartmouth, that were the original villages from 350 years ago. So I had this series of maps, and what I realized was I didn't even understand really the shape of the community, and I was really intrigued by, you know, the way Dartmouth flows from agriculture down to the sea, or if you look at it in reverse, from the sea moving to agriculture, which was for many years the primary source of employment for the community. So the map always had to be part of it. We had to figure out how to embed it, and from the very beginning I was emerging steel forms from the middle of a scale map of Dartmouth. And I will say that the way we oriented it is this map is exactly due north, just as we are standing on campus. So the other major way I work to organize the steel that we have here is I needed to find a visual anchor. I needed to find something that would allow me to build a structure out of many, many dozens of pieces of steel, but to have a single object that would have some continuity. So I went to, you know, one of the oldest organizing principles, you know, of our human existence, our human understanding, which is the principle of divine proportion. And divine proportion essentially is when all the parts together equal the one larger whole. If you look at that building, that proportion, it gets even bigger. I mean, it gets as big as, you know, weather systems and the hurricanes, the eye of the storm, the galaxies that we look at. I mean, the very universe, they believe, is based on a mathematical sequence of growth. So, you know, this idea of growth and the idea of what we're trying to do on campus and what we're trying to do globally by engaging, you know, the world with our ideas and with our innovation and with entrepreneurship, moving forward thinking as we try to do this, it just seemed quite honestly, too good to be true. It was the only image I could work with once I sort of settled on that. You know, another element to this site that we wanted to create was that it is a stop on the South Coast bike path. So it's, again, part of a larger entity where we're trying to encourage people to come on campus and be part of what we do here. If we look at this kiosk for the 350th anniversary, every village, original village in the town of Dartmouth was given one of these kiosks to describe the history of that village and you know, what was done, what were the primary efforts, what were the primary crops or ways of employment. So we created a kiosk to tie into that.
So I want to invite all of our viewers to stop by the campus, park in Lot 1, walk across the ring road, look both ways, and check out the sculpture. And that wraps up this month's issue of UMass Dartmouth Magazine. I hope you enjoyed it, and come back next month for a new edition. Thanks. Until then, please mark your calendars for the following activities at UMass Dartmouth.